are you? Have you been? How is your business doing? Have you sat down with your goals for this year that is ending, and you're coming up with the goals for next year? My name is Muita-Saisi, a business consultant, your monitoring and evaluation consultant, and an industrial and organizational psychologist. Today we'll be talking about business goals because most of us have come to a point whereby they sit down, they come up with goals, and they do not understand what happened in between there. Some of them, they come up with goals and they don't understand how comes these goals are not being actualized. Some of them, they sit down, they come up with realistic goals, but in somewhere they feel like these goals were not so much realistic. So, what are we talking about goals? So, when you talk about a goal, it is that vision that you have, the futuristic vision. How do you see your business being in the near future? So, how can we be able to come up with the right kind of goals? How can we be able to come up with the right kind of platforms whereby we are making the right choices? And the right choices, I mean the right futuristic visions. Because sometimes we make goals, I need to realize that later these goals cannot be achieved, or me or the goal, one of us is playing the other. Or sometimes we come somewhere and we feel like we've already achieved our goal, and it's like we had set a very um, way below level goals. Like, for instance, let's imagine that you had decided to make 1 million within within next year, the whole of next year. By December, you'll be having 1 million in your account. But you realize that by quarter one, you already have 3 million. So sometimes we tend to relax, and that 3 million is spent very fast within these four other quarters that are awaiting. So we're going to sit here and talk about what is a goal and how can we make the right kind of a goal? How can we be able to measure this goal? As I told you, I'm a monitoring and evaluation consultant. This in M&E, we believe that every goal must have timeline. And with this timeline, we must look at three specific things. We must look at the resources. What are the resources that are available? Number two, we must look at the bad. So as you see, like, we have three things when we're looking at a goal. We are looking at resources, we are looking at the timeline, we're also looking at the scope. Because if you do not basically put your head on that, what will happen is that you'll feel like this goal is not being achieved, and or you see like you're taking lesser time or more time to achieve this goal. So when you look at a timeline, what is a timeline? You give yourself the amount of time to complete the activity. So, like for instance, you want to make 1 million by the end of the year, or you want to make that amount of money that you want to make within that end of the year. So, how can we be able to achieve our goal within the set timeline? So, number one thing, the key thing that you look at is the 90-day rule. The first 90 days, I'll have made 300,000, and you tick it. By that time, you shall look at 300,000. Do I have it? So within these 90 days, what am I going to start doing to achieve that I have purposed? So you sit down with yourself and ask yourself the tough question. Within these 90 days, what will I start doing to achieving that? Higher. Then we have the second quarter. That is the other 90 days. So I've been doing this. Am I going to do like I was doing in the first 90 days? No. You become now, you start doing something more. Then the third quarter, the same thing. You look at the other 90 days. There's no you can behave the same in the fourth quarter as the first quarter. So that is timeline. That is how we play with the timelines. Then we come to number two on that triangle. It is the resource. resources. You look at how much money do I have? That is the budget. How much people do I have? How much knowledge do I have? How much have I equipped myself towards getting this? For instance, I want to become a farmer. So, do I have the pesticides? Do I have the herbicides? Do I have the seedlings? Do I have the right kind of workmen that I need at the shamba? Do I have the people that I need to consult with this? Do I have my market? So all that falls under the resources. Because a goal without a resource, it is just like you just having a very beautiful daydream. So you have to sit down with yourself and ask, how much resource do I have? So, with that resource, the next thing that you have to look at and you become comfortable with, it is the thing that we call in. We said we have number one, before you forget. Let me before we go to the third one, we need to first remind ourselves. We said we have timeline, and with the timeline, it's a 90-day rule. Number two, we said we have the resources. And the resources is the budget, the human resource, the things that need to be done for that goal to be achieved. Now let's go to number three. It is the scope. So we ask ourselves, what is our geographical region? What do we need? As in, how much will we have gone? This is the targeted area. I want to start with, for instance, let's say like I want to market within the Adi River region. And then quarter two, I want to go outside Adi River and go all the way to Kitengela. That does not mean that I'll have forgotten Adi River. No, I will still be marketing to Adi River, but now headed to Kitengela. And then after Kitengela, that is quarter two. Quarter three, I'll make sure that I've gone to Machakos. So that is now my scope. I'm talking about the scope. So I go to Machakos. So you remember quarter one, I was in at the river. I expanded to Kitengela, and then I went to Machakos. Then quarter four, I can now go to Nairobi. So I will look at it, and that way it will be bringing this expansion towards me achieving that goal of 1 million. So if I was able to get 300,000 from Adi River, I know I can get another one from the other region and the other region and the other region, and without me knowing, I will have achieved my goal. There's someone who told me that you can never expect to get anything if you keep doing the same thing. So with the scope, if you keep on exhausting the same scope, you'll never achieve your desired outcome or goal. So you have to sit down with yourself and ask yourself during this time, as you're writing down your goals, that is the easiest way that you can do it. Ask yourself, what is my scope? What is my timeline? And what is my resource? So I will be hoping to sit down with even some of you as we come up with these goals, as we are able to sit down and we are able to criticize what we have on the table. Thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. Please like, please share with your friends. And also, I hope that even with our Facebook live moments and Instagram live moments, you are learning a lot. And even by next year, I'll be having the trainings that we shall be doing through our Google Meet. I hope you will continue learning and learning and learning more. Thank you very much. Have a blessed Christmas and a very good time as you ensure to make those nice goals. Remember what we said: timeline, resource, and scope. Bye bye.